In this video, I am going to explain in detail the answers to all the 100 questions of UPSC Prelims Paper 1 General Studies. But before getting into the answer explanation, I want to spend a minute or two in analyzing the paper. If you observe Paper 1, this year's UPSC Prelims 2025, you will observe that Geography and Environment has the highest weightage. Geography 12 questions, Environment 13 questions, total 25 questions from these topics. Similarly, Economy also has 20 questions, whereas History, that includes Art and Culture, around 16 questions, and Polity around 14 questions, Science and Technology 13 questions, International Relations 6, and Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous mostly has come from the sports. From the sports, they ask a few questions and few government schemes, around 6 questions. And if you observe, friends, Geography, Environment, Economy, these subjects, these 45 questions, I would say moderate to difficult. Around 30 to 40% of questions from these subjects are difficult. So it is moderate to difficult. Whereas History and Polity, I would say easy to moderate. Easy to moderate. Maybe 1 or 2 questions are difficult. Otherwise, History, Polity mostly easy to moderate. Science and Technology, I would say, is difficult only. Nothing to talk about moderate difficult. It is difficult according to me. Science Technology is not very conventional. Maybe 2 or 3 questions are traditional which can be answered. Otherwise, difficult questions. IR mostly focused on international organizations. They focused on organizations, BRICS, BIMSTEC, these kind of organizations. And Miscellaneous is slightly unconventional. They focused on facts, numbers, which generally we won't remember while preparing for the prelims examination. And also, from the previous year's questions, if you have practiced last 10 years of prelims questions, 16 questions have come. Directly, means directly in the sense, not verbatim, but the same concept, almost same, 16 questions have come. Those students who have gone through last 10 years of prelims question papers definitely can answer these 16 questions easily, quickly. Hence, the thumb rule is always go through last 10 years PYQs. And also, if you observe, the paper is lengthy. The paper is lengthy because, see, single option questions are around some 18, and two statements. 2 statements are 15 questions. And here, friends, 3 statement questions, almost 39 questions have come. That makes the paper lengthy. Even there are 4 statement questions, which are 9, and 5 or more also. Even around 4 questions, 5 or more statements. So this part has made the paper very lengthy. Even match the following also, around 8 questions have come. Match the following. Even assertion reasoning also are not very easy. They are also moderate difficult. Around 4 questions have come. Because of this, the length of the paper, the stress levels increases for most of the students towards the end. And because of which, because it's mental stress, the cutoff I think will come down. According to me, cutoff would be less than 78 marks. According to me, cutoff would be less than 78 marks as per the sample set that I have among my students. So the cutoff will be very less this year because of the lengthiness of paper and the difficult questions that came from Science Technology, Economy, and Geography Environment. That's the reason. Now, let us go into detailed explanation of GS Paper 1, all 100 questions. And one more thing, friends, before starting the explanation of 100 questions, I would like to spend a minute or two on CSAT. CSAT also, this time, reading comprehension, roughly 30 questions, arithmetic, roughly 35, and reasoning, 15 questions have come. In this, the reading comprehensions are tricky, analytical, logical. I mean, the marking the answer accurately is not easier. In this year's reading comprehension, marking the answer accurately is not very easy. Only those students who have good reading habit would have done it well. Even arithmetic also, most of the questions you cannot get the answers directly from formulae. You should know the logic behind those questions. Hence, those students who understood the logic behind would have done well. And definitely, it is very time consuming. Many students are unable to finish the paper, but it's okay. I think because of CSAT would be game changer this year. Because of CSAT, I think the paper 1 cutoff may still fall down. It may be from 78, it may come down to 75 also, because many students may miss CSAT this time. Miss in the sense, may not clear the cutoff this time. Last point is, friends, if you have seen my 2024 prelims explanation, I made a video on 2024 UPSC prelims paper explanation last year in our channel, Sarat Chandra Academy channel. You can see last year, exactly on the day of prelims, I released a video. If you go through the questions in that video, out of 100 questions I explained paper 1, 98 questions are correct. 2 questions are wrong as per the official key released 2 days back, official key. So similarly, the same confidence I'm telling you, this time also our key will definitely have 99% accuracy. The first question, they have given few statements, and how many of these are considered as alternative powertrain vehicles? What are powertrain vehicles? Powertrain vehicle means it is a system that has propulsion coming from the engine or a motor, and that energy is transmitted to the wheels and wheels start moving. Basically, powertrain system means it is a system, group of components where energy generation, energy transmission, so that wheels start moving. As you know, traditionally, in the traditional, or we can call it as conventional, in the traditional or conventional powertrain vehicles, what do we use? We use internal combustion engine that uses petrol or diesel, whatever. But in this traditional system, fuel efficiency is low and it is non-renewable energy and emissions are very high. Hence, we move to alternative powertrain system. Alternative in the sense, the main idea is to use renewable energy, or mainly to increase the fuel efficiency or reduce transmission, reduce emissions, reduce the carbon emissions. That is the main idea of alternative powertrain system. Alternative means alternative to ICE that uses petrol, diesel. Anything, it can be, full battery electric vehicle means full battery in the sense it's not hybrid. It completely depends upon the battery only, rechargeable batteries. So definitely it is alternative powertrain. And hydrogen fuel, not only hydrogen fuel, even biofuel, even CNG also. CNG, you can call it as alternative powertrain system only. Then fuel cell electric hybrid, electric fuel cell, it uses both of them. Hybrid vehicle also definitely, it also does not have an IC that uses the petrol, diesel. It also comes under the alternative powertrain vehicle. So all three are correct. All three are correct. C. Also is C. Friends, actually, the importance of this question is, these days, there are a lot of articles about using renewable energy, increasing fuel efficiency, decreasing emissions. This topic has become very important. It is coming in newspapers. This topic is also mentioned in our science, technology and economy articles also, in our material also. Let us move to the next question. With reference to unmanned aerial vehicles. Friends, what is an unmanned aerial vehicle? It is an aircraft that does not use human pilots. It operates without human pilots. How does it operate? Either it operates using a remote control, which is operated by a human operated remote control, or it can use autonomous onboard computers. The onboard computers of the drone, UAV, autonomous, it can work autonomously. These are the various types of UAVs. See, UAVs can be fixed wing. If you see, traditionally, the initial days, the olden stages of drones are fixed wing. They are just like an aircraft. They land like an aircraft, they work like an aircraft. They cannot stay in a position like that. They are traditional UAVs. But these days, the rotary wing UAVs, after the fixed wing UAVs, the latest varieties are rotary wing UAVs. That means they have the, spinning blades. So, and again, a very lot variety of latest technology drones have come into place. Now, they are given some statements about UAVs. All types of UAVs can do vertical landing. Vertical landing means they have to land directly vertically without any runway. Definitely, the fixed wing UAVs traditionally, fixed wing drones, they cannot do that. They need a runway. So this is wrong. All types of UAVs can do automated hovering. Friends, automated hovering means what? Automated hovering is possible only when the drone is at a fixed position, at a fixed altitude without changing. Their capability will lead to automated hovering. But their capability is not there for the traditional fixed wing UAVs. Fixed wing UAVs needs continuous forward motion. They have to continuously move forward, like our aircrafts. Yeah. Only when they move forward, they can stay aloft. Otherwise, they cannot. Okay. Similarly, friends, this is wrong. This is wrong. All types of UAVs can use battery only. Battery only, a source of this. Everybody knows. This is very easy because we have read in the newspapers many articles about the solar powered UAVs, fuel powered UAVs, hybrid UAVs. So definitely cannot say that only battery has to be used. So all three are wrong. First, UAVs has become important in the last few years, mainly because of surveillance, even agriculture, research, even using UAVs for the flood relief also. Hence, UAVs have come in newspapers several times. So it is imminent. It's very important for you to read about UAVs. I know that first one, third one, people know very easily that both are wrong because vertical landing is not possible. General UAVs that you might have seen in the images also, the videos also. But the second one, I know that automated hovering. Many people may not understand the meaning of automated hovering. That's why some students may get confused. But automated hovering is possible only when it can stay at a fixed position, fixed altitude. It's not possible. Okay, it's not possible for fixed wing UAVs. It is possible for the latest UAVs, but not possible for all types. Those who want to guess can also guess that all types means generally wrong only. Generally. So, friends, in this question, all three are wrong. So, how many statements given above are correct? None. None of them are correct. Moving to the third question. In the context of electric vehicles, electric vehicle batteries, consider the following elements. Friends, in the electric vehicle batteries, they are given some elements. They are asking how many of them form a part of cathode. In the battery, you have cathode and anode. So they gave some elements and they are asking you to find out which of these things form cathode. See, cobalt, lithium, nickel, even iron, even manganese, even aluminum also. All these things are part of cathode. They form part of cathode. Cobalt, lithium, nickel, iron, manganese, aluminum. Graphite cannot be part of cathode. Graphite is part of anode actually. Graphite can be. In certain lithium ion batteries, graphite is part of anode, but it can never be part of cathode. Hence, the answer is 1, 3 and 4. How many of the above make up the cathode? Only 3. Only 3. 3 make up C. Moving forward, the fourth question, friends. They gave some objects and asked you to identify which of them contain the plastic. Friends, plastic is of several types, and plastic also has become important because several state governments or local authorities have banned the plastic, microplastic. They have banned the plastic which is less than a certain thickness, and hence plastic has come in the newspapers several times in the last few months. Hence, it is your responsibility to learn about the plastic as it is coming regularly in the newspaper. You should know different types of plastic. So this question is indirectly testing your understanding on different types of plastics. If you observe here, cigarette butts. Generally, cigarette butts use filters. I think all of you know that cigarette butts use filters. The filter is generally made up of cellulose acetate. Cellulose acetate. It is a type of plastic. Hence, it uses plastic. Eyeglass lenses. General lenses means generally they are this polycarbonates. Lenses are generally polycarbonates, and polycarbonates definitely plastic only. Car tires. You might have observed car tires these days. Synthetic rubber is coming. Synthetic rubber in car tires, and synthetic rubber is definitely type of plastic only. No. So how many of them contain plastic? Means all the three contain plastic. All the three contain plastic definitely. The next question. Coal gasification technology can be used to produce which of these three? Basically, what is coal gasification technology? Coal, you make it react. You make the coal react with controlled amount of oxygen and controlled amount of steam at a very high temperature in order to produce synthetic gas. And syngas is again in the news for multiple reasons. Syngas, we read it in science technology as well as in economy also. Economy also, syngas is there. So most of you would have learned about coal gasification technology to produce syngas, and syngas has many applications. It is even used in generation of power. Here they are asking which of these things can be made from syngas. Basically, syngas majorly consists of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen methane. Mostly these gas will be there in syngas. Now, ethanol. Friends, from the carbon monoxide and hydrogen, you can produce ethanol. Hence, it can be made from syngas. Correct. Next, nitroglycerin. Friends, nitroglycerin has nothing to do with the syngas. Nitroglycerin is purely glycerol combined with acid. Can be sulfuric acid or nitric acid, So, the no relation. Urea. Again, in urea, what is the major input in urea? Ammonia. Ammonia can be made from syngas. So, urea and ethanol, 1 and 3 can be made from syngas. Hence, how many of them can be made? Only two. Only two of them can be made from syngas. Coming to the sixth question, they gave few chemical names and they asked where do we use them? We use them as explosives in the military weapons. CL-20 is mostly in the news. Actually, HMX is a widely used explosive, mostly in the detonators. Whereas CL-20 is a newer alternative. It's more powerful. It is safer also. Safer in the sense it is non-nuclear explosive. That's why research is going on presently to use it in the missiles, non-nuclear missiles, and as warheads. So B is the answer. The seventh question, they talked about quantum chips. In this question, they talked about quantum chips. For example, Mazarona 1 is a quantum chip developed by Microsoft, and Mazarona 1 uses Mazarona particles. They are the subatomic particles who can act as their own antiparticles. They are more reliable and stable qubits. Hence, they can enable quantum computing. Because they are qubits, they act as qubits. Now, first one is correct. Second, do Amazon Web Services use Mazarona 1? No. Amazon Web Services have their own quantum chip called as Ocelot. They have their own quantum chip. Actually, Ocelot is different from Mazarona 1. Mazarona 1 is a topological qubit. Mazarona 1 is a topological qubit. Whereas Ocelot is CAT. It's a CAT qubit. They're different. CAT qubit, they use Ocelot mainly to reduce the errors. Now second one is wrong. Third one, deep learning. Is it a subset of machine learning? Friends, true. Actually, it's true because machine learning is a very broad field. Machine learning means basically algorithms learning from the data to make decisions. So it's very broad. Within the machine learning, deep learning is more complex data sheets like how our brain works. Deep learning uses neural networks in multiple layers. It is a subset of machine learning. So here only 1 and 3 are correct. The eighth question, monoclonal antibodies. Friends, these are the molecules made in the laboratory synthetically. They are synthetic, not natural, but they act as natural antibodies. And these have come in the news mainly because research is going on to use these lab-made antibodies called monoclonal antibodies to treat cancer, disease, and even to treat COVID. To treat COVID also, it is in the news. So, are they man-made proteins? Yes, one is correct. They are man-made in laboratory. And they have they bind to the specific antigens in order to stimulate immunological functions. True. Actually, they bind to specific antigens to activate the immune system. Once immune system is activated, it can destroy the infected cells. So 2 is correct. Third one, viral infection. Can viral infections be treated by the monoclonal antibodies? Particularly asking about Nipah virus. It's true because it is in the news. Actually, M102.4 is a monoclonal antibody developed specifically, means as a prototype, to treat Nipah virus, and it has been studied in the animal studies. In the animal studies, M102.4 is able to successfully neutralize the Nipah virus. So this is also correct. So here all 3 are correct. Friends, all 3. Here 1, 2 and 3. All 3 are correct. This is about the virus. They are asking whether virus can survive in ocean waters. Yes, we have algal viruses. Actually, algal viruses survive in the oceans, and they are very important for the biogeochemical cycles in the marine atmosphere, in the oceans. So 1 is wrong. They are saying no virus can survive, but the algal virus, there are many types of viruses in the ocean. Again, no virus can infect bacteria. That is also wrong. Because, bacteriophages is a virus that specifically infects the bacteria, and they are very important. This bacteriophages virus is abundant on that surface. You know why it is important? Mainly to control the population of bacteria. Hence, this is also wrong. Next, no virus can change the cellular. Friends, virus can change the cellular transcription activity. Once they enter into the host cells, they can change the cellular transcriptional activity, mainly because, do you know why they change that activity? Mainly to replicate themselves. In order to replicate themselves, they have to change the transcriptional activity in the cell. Hence, this is also wrong. So, all 3 are wrong. How many of the statements are correct? None of them are correct. None of them are correct. This question is about activated carbon. Basically, activated carbon is not only in the news, not only in the environment, in the environmental news, but it's also in the static environment textbooks. Even in our material also, this activated carbon is there. Activated carbon is highly porous and it has a large surface area. It has a large surface area and highly porous. Activated carbon is type of carbon which has high surface area and highly porous. That's why it is used for absorption. It has very high absorption capacity. It can absorb not only the organic but also the inorganic pollutants. Inorganic pollutants. It is used for treating the water pollution, air pollution. It's used in air purification also. So it is widely used, activated carbon. So first statement they're giving is activated carbon is it can remove pollutants from effluent streams and remove contaminants. Correct? It can remove pollutants, contaminants. Next statement, it has large surface area and it can absorb heavy metal is inorganic. Inorganic also it can absorb. That's also correct. Third, activated carbon can be made from the waste, environmental waste, organic waste, the agricultural waste also. For example, coconut shells, nut shells, which is agricultural waste. From there, we can actually develop activated carbon. Now, in the question they're asking, all 3 statements are correct. However, which statement is explaining statement 1? Statement 1, what it is telling? Statement 1 is telling that activated carbon can remove the pollutants. Why is it remove the pollutants? Is it because it can be made from the organic waste? No. Making it from organic waste, agricultural waste has nothing to do with making it from agricultural waste has nothing to do with the removal of pollution. But large surface area, this is the reason. Large surface area, activated carbon has a large surface area because of which it can remove the pollutants. So only statement 2 can explain statement 1, not statement 3. So both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one of them can explain statement 1. So B is the answer. Only statement 2 explains statement 1. Statement 3 does not explain. Statement 3 all talks about how it can be produced, that's all. And the 11th question is about cement manufacturing. Friends, in cement manufacturing, there are several stages. Only in few stages, carbon dioxide is emitted. Mainly while in the process of calcining the limestone. Only in the process of calcining the limestone, most of the carbon dioxide is emitted. This question is about that one. So if you observe, carbon dioxide emissions from cement industry accounts for around 5% of global carbon emissions, which is true. If you look at the overall global carbon emissions, 5% of is accounted from cement manufacturing. It is true. Then they're asking whether silica bearing clay is mixed with the limestone. True. With the limestone, silica bearing clay means laterite, shale, such kind of clay is added with the limestone. It's added with the limestone because in this we not only have silica, we also have iron, aluminium, which are essential components for cement manufacturing. This is true. However, this mixing will not lead to carbon dioxide production. When you mix the clay with limestone, that does not release any kind of carbon dioxide. The statement is correct, but it does not explain statement 1. Then statement 3, limestone is converted into lime during clinker production. It's true. Basically what happens is, during the clinker production, what they do is, the silica bearing clay along with the limestone, they both are mixed. And the mixture is heated in a kiln. In a kiln, they're heated at a temperature of 1500 degrees centigrade, very high temperature. So what happens at the time? The limestone, CaCO3, breaks down into lime, CaO and carbon dioxide. So limestone breaks down into lime and carbon dioxide. So in the kiln, the limestone and clay are heated at a temperature of 1500 degrees centigrade. So this is the stage. At this stage only, carbon dioxide released. So all 3 statements are correct, but only statement 3 explains statement 1. So if you observe, B is the answer. B. Statements are correct, both 2 and 3 are correct, but only statement 3 explains statement 1. This is the point. The 12th question. It is about declaration on climate and health. Basically, this declaration of climate and health, the main purpose is to decarbonize the health sector. There are many sectors which emit carbon dioxide. However, health sector specific is about this declaration is specifically about health sector. But friends, see, India never signs anything outside UNFCCC framework, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is outside the UNFCCC, and India generally does not agree with sector specific commitments, health sector specific commitment, this one. So India did not sign it. India refrained, did not sign it. So this is correct. Similarly, friends, this is a binding declaration. No, this is not a binding declaration. Statement 2 is wrong. This is not binding, this is a non-binding. This is only for political reasons. Only politically every country should try to decarbonize health sector. It is not legally enforceable. It's only a political commitment, but not legal commitment. Statement 2 is wrong. It's not binding declaration. Statement 3, if you observe, if health sector is decarbonized, decarbonizing is good actually. Decarbonizing any sector is good as much as possible. If you decarbonize health sector, it will reduce the resilience of the system. Wrong. It will increase the resilience. Actually, if hospitals are forced to use renewable energies and if they are forced to be energy efficient, definitely it will decrease the overall air pollution and improve the health of the public. So definitely decarbonizing will not compromise resilience. It will improve resilience. So both 2 and 3 are wrong. So answer is D. D. Neither statement 2 nor 3 is correct. The 13th question is about Earth's rotational change. Friends, if you look at the Earth, the statement 1 says that the Earth's rotation and axis are slightly shifting. It is true. It is happening from last century. From last 100 years, gradually the Earth's rotation and axis are shifting mainly because of climate change leading to melting of glaciers. In the polar areas, we have a lot of ice glaciers. Because of climate change, they are melting. As they are melting, most of the water is pushed towards the equator because of the centrifugal force. Because of that, there is change in the Earth's mass distribution. The mass of the Earth is getting redistributed at a large scale, because of which the rotational and axis shift are happening. So statement 1 is correct. Even statement 3 talks about the same thing. The polar ice melts and the water is pushed towards the equator, because of which shift is happening. Statement 1 is correct, statement 3 is correct, and statement 3 explains statement 1. And if you observe statement 2, friends, solar flares and coronal mass ejection, which comes from the sun. From the sun's corona, if you look at the atmosphere of the sun, from sun's corona, solar flares come out. There are high amounts of heat, energy coming out from the sun. They actually impact the outer atmosphere of the earth. They generally do not come into the deep inside the earth. They affect only the outer atmosphere of the earth, the uppermost layer of atmosphere, because of which the communication systems are impacted. Satellite operations are impacted. The solar flares, it bombards the Earth's outer atmosphere with tremendous energy that impacts our satellite operations, impacts our communication systems. But it does not impact the rotation of the Earth, because this does not have any impact on the redistribution of the mass of the Earth. Statement 2 is correct, but it does not explain statement 1. All are correct, but only 3 explains 1. So, answer is B. In B, they said that both statement 2 and 3 are correct, but only one of them, that means statement 3 explains statement 1. That is answer. Let us move to next question. 14th question is about Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Friends, in the Paris Agreement, Article 6 specifically talks about the international cooperation to achieve the climate goals, international cooperation. In Article 6, we have 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, many sub-clauses are there. If you look at Article 6.2, in Article 6, you look at 6.2, it specifically talks about, see, they ask about principles of carbon market. Does Article 6 talk about the carbon market? Yes, Article 6.2 specifically talks about bilateral or multilateral agreements. Means a few countries can together make some agreements under 6.2. Agreements where they can trade emission reductions. The emission reductions can be traded between the countries by making agreements. It is mentioned in Article 6. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1, Article 6 of Paris Climate Change, frequently discussed in the global discussions for climate change and sustainable development is part of it. So definitely 1 is correct, 2 is correct. Statement 3, if you observe, it talks about non-market strategies. Does Article 6 encourage non-market strategies? Yes. In the Article 6 only, 6.8 specifically talks about how a country can help another nation. A nation can help another nation by technology transfer, by capacity building. They can make agreements and they can transfer technology. Means these are actually non-market strategies. They are non-market strategies, non-economic strategies. Such strategies can also be part of Article 6 as per 6.8. So this is also correct. Friends, and then see both, carbon markets are encouraged and non-market strategies or approaches like the technology transfer are also encouraged. So both of them explain Article 6. All 3 are correct and 2 and 3 explain 1. So the answer is A. Both statements are correct and both of them explain statement 1. Friends, the 15th question, it is about nature solutions finance hub for Asia and Pacific. Basically, in the Asia and Pacific region, there is nature loss. The nature is getting lost because of several reasons in the Asia Pacific region. Because of the nature loss, almost 2/3 of the GDP is threatened, is affected. Hence, the Asian Development Bank has come up with this nature-based solutions finance hub for Asia and the Pacific. As per this, the Asian Development Bank wants to pool at least 2 billion to invest in nature-based solutions, because they want to address the concerns of nature loss and they want to invest in the nature-based solutions. Answer is A. The next question is on direct air capture. Direct air capture means you take the air, let it pass through the parcel of air, let it pass through chemical solutions or salt filters to directly extract the carbon dioxide from it. Okay, they gave 2 statements. It can be used for carbon sequestration. That's correct. Correct. Because water carbon dioxide you capture from the air, you can store that carbon dioxide underground. It can be stored. So it can be used for carbon sequestration. Next one is it can be used for plastic production. Friends, directly we may not use, but indirectly I would say you can use direct air capture for plastic production. How? Why do you do direct air capture? To get the carbon dioxide. Once you get the carbon dioxide, store the carbon dioxide, that carbon dioxide can be used to produce synthetic fuel. For example, ethylene can be produced, and it is direct building block of plastic production. Hence, it's correct. Even food processing also correct only, because the carbon dioxide that you get out of the direct air capture, the carbon dioxide can be used in the greenhouse to produce the plants. Plants require carbon dioxide to grow. Even if you look at the processing in the other way also, for example, the aerated beverages, the cool drinks, aerated beverages, there also you can use the carbon dioxide to produce the beverages. So in either ways, statement 2 is correct. Statement 3 in aviation, yes, definitely the carbon dioxide that you captured from this technology method, it can be used, to combine the carbon hydrogen to create a synthetic fuel. All 3 are correct. All 3 are correct. So the peacock tarantula is a blue spider. It's a blue colored spider. Generally, you find it in certain forest patches of Andhra Pradesh. Peacock tarantula. So it's also called blue tarantula. They gave certain features about this spider. It is an omnivorous crustacean. No, it is an arachnid. It is not a crustacean. It's an arachnid. It's a carnivorous arachnid. One is wrong. It stays only in some forest areas. True, in India, it stays in some patches of Andhra Pradesh. It's correct. It is an arboreal species. Yes, it lives on trees. Boreal, it lives on trees. So it's correct. It lives on trees. So 2 and 3 are correct. 2 and 3 correct. This is about the carbon dioxide emissions. Carbon dioxide emissions happening in India. What is the per capita? Means per person. Per capita means per person the carbon dioxide emission as per 2022 report is 2 tons per person. Not 0.5 ton. It's wrong. First statement is wrong. Second statement, according to the International Energy Agency, in the Asia Pacific region, after China, the second largest producer of carbon dioxide emissions is India. Second statement is correct. First is wrong, second is correct. Then in India, CO2 emissions mostly come from electricity and heat production because we use coal. Because we use coal, almost 53% of the carbon dioxide emissions come from electricity and heat production. So 3 is correct. 2 and 3 are correct. 2 and 3 are correct. 1 is wrong. The pairs, here they gave a plant and they gave description. Is it a woody shrub? Is it a climber? What kind of plant is it? Friends, mint and papaya, these two they mentioned as shrubs. Annual shrubs, woody shrubs. Mint is a perennial herb, and mint, papaya both are herbaceous plants. Both are herbaceous plants. So these 2 are wrong. Remaining 3 are correct. Cassava is a woody shrub. Ginger has pseudostem, herb with pseudostem, and Malabar spinach is a climber. These 3 are correct. So only 3 are correct. Only 3 are correct. Next one, with reference to planet Earth, which statements are true? Friends, if you look at the land and ocean, ocean has phytoplanktons that produce more oxygen than anything on the land. So here they gave rainforests produce more oxygen than oceans. Wrong. It is wrong. Oceans produce more than 50% of oxygen. In the oceans, the phytoplanktons do photosynthesis and produce oxygen. Marine phytoplankton and photosynthetic bacteria produce 50% correct. They actually do photosynthesis in the surface of the ocean. Correct. Next, well-oxygenated surface water, it contains more oxygen than atmospheric air. Wrong. Atmospheric air has 21% volume. In the atmospheric air, 21% of volume is oxygen. That much volume of oxygen can never be there even in the well-oxygenated surface water. Even if you look at milligram per liter, milligram of oxygen per liter, if you observe, compared to atmospheric air, the surface water has far less oxygen. So 2, 3 is wrong. Only 2 is correct. Only 2 is correct. This is about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Friends, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he has respect and love towards the Eastern philosophy. However, he is against the orthodox practices like sati, etc. And he has respect for the philosophy of the Eastern countries, but he wants them to be combined with the rationality of the West. He wants equality among different castes, religion, gender. So, if you look at, he possesses respect towards the East is correct. Then he desired social equality, scientific approach is correct. So both statements are correct regarding Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Regarding the non-cooperation movement, non-cooperation program is essentially to boycott the British institutions. For example, British law courts are boycotted, correct. It is boycotted, correct. In the place of British law courts, they want to establish panchayats for settling disputes, correct. Observation of non-violence, of course, Gandhiji's any movement observes non-violence. Retention of titles, no. They call for renunciation of titles. Even Gandhiji renounced his title Kaisar-e-Hind, given by the British, Kaisar-e-Hind. He renounced the title. Hence, 3 is wrong. Only 1, 2, 4 are correct. Only 3 statements are correct. Next is, what is Araghata? Friends, Araghata is a Persian wheel. It's a wheel. You know, on one side bucket would be there. Other side, draught animals like cattle will be pulling that, drawing the water. So it's a large wheel. 2 is correct. Friends, the names Vichitrachitta, Matavilasa, these names belong to Mahendravarman I of Pallava dynasty. He even wrote this Sanskrit drama with the name Matavilasa, Sanskrit drama. Hence, A is option. Then Fagzen. Friends, Fagzen, in his travelogue called Journey to the West, he mentioned about what he learned from India. The politics of India, society of India, religions of India, he explained. He came to India around 400 CE, 400 to 420 CE. There was a time during Chandragupta II. So he was a famous Buddhist monk. Let's move to the next question. Here, Srivijaya is a very powerful kingdom in the Southeast Asia. And Rajendra Chola has done a series of successful military campaigns, between 1015 to 25 CE against Southeast Asian Srivijayan Empire, and he was successful, because of which the influence of Cholas was greatly extended to Southeast Asia. Now, they gave ancient Indian kingdoms or maybe regions, and those regions are near which rivers? How many of them are matching correctly? Here, Asmaka is an ancient Mahajanapada. We cannot call kingdom, maybe ancient Mahajanapada, which actually laid on the banks of Godavari River. Correct. Kamboja was mentioned in the ancient Indian texts in the northwestern India on the Bias River. Actually, Bias is a Vipas is the ancient name of present Bias. It's correct. And Avanti kingdom, Kosala kingdom, they are correctly matched. They lie on the river banks of Mahanadi and Sarayu. So all the 4 are correct. Then the first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, it was established to teach the classical music and dance. The first branch was opened in Lahore, present day Pakistan. Later on, the branches were expanded across many parts of India. Ashokan inscriptions. From here, if you read IGNOU, in IGNOU, there is a separate chapter called Ancient Indian Administration. Ancient Indian Administration. In that chapter, there is a subtopic called as Local Administration. There they clearly mention, I'm talking about Ashoka, the Mauryan dynasty, Ashoka. There they clearly mentioned that Razuka has the present day powers of a district collector. Razuka used it to collect the revenue. And his role is more or less, the IGNOU material has compared his role with the present day's district collector. And Yukta, they are the subordinate officers who used to support the Razuka. Hence, the answer is B, district level. In those days, in the entire kingdom was divided into some provinces. Each province was divided into districts, and each district was divided into village level. So answer is B. This is about the non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement was mainly to boycott the British institutions with the main end goal of Swarajya. And here, the Congress clearly declared that Swaraj is means independence. Swaraj is the end goal of non-cooperation movement by Gandhiji. They said that if non-cooperation movement could not achieve Swaraj, the next step is civil disobedience movement. The difference is non-cooperation movement means you don't cooperate with the British institutions. You boycott the British institutions. Whereas civil disobedience movement means you basically stop paying tax also. You disobey the British administration. So the Congress declared the attempt Swaraj, which is correct. Peaceful means. And they want to implement in stages. The first stage is non-cooperation movement. Civil disobedience movement of non-payment taxes will be started only if Swaraj is not achieved, by non-cooperation movement within a year. That is also correct only. So both statements are correct. Coming to the next question regarding the investments. The question is about what are alternative investment funds. The traditional investment funds like bonds, stocks, mutual funds are for everyone to invest. However, the alternative investment funds like the hedge funds, venture capital funds, these are specifically designed for high net worth individuals who expect higher returns and who can take more risk. So here alternative investment funds are 2 and 4. 2 and 4. The next question is about how Reserve Bank of India gets income. What are the various sources of income for Reserve Bank of India? When they sell government bonds or when they sell the foreign currency, definitely RBI gets the income. Pension fund management is the role of PFRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory Authority. It's not the role of RBI. Lending to private companies cannot be done by Reserve Bank of India directly. Printing and distribution currency, when you print or distribute the currency, it's expenditure. It cannot be income. Hence, only 1 and 2 is a source of income for Reserve Bank of India. The next question asks about various organizations, their role, and they come under which ministry, which department. Enforcement Directorate mainly enforces the Fugitive Economic Offences Act, which is correct. Even Directorate of Revenue Intelligence (DRI) mainly enforces the Customs Act, which is correct. And Directorate General of Systems, they do the data analytics and they help the tax officers. They mainly help in stopping the tax evasion. They help the officers to stop the tax evasion. All three are correct. Now let's come to the department. It works in which department? All the three work under Revenue Department under the Ministry of Finance. So Ministry of Finance, correct. Ministry of Home Affairs is wrong, not Home Affairs. Finance Ministry only. So only 2 and 3 are correct. Only 2 and 3 are correct. Only 2 options are correct. Only 2 options are correct. 2 and 3 are correct. 2 and 3 are correct. Now, moving on to the next question. This is also about, this is also economic question only. Reserve Bank of India mandates the listed companies in India to submit BRSR. No, it's not Reserve Bank of India. It is SEBI. It is SEBI that mandates. So, one is wrong. Second one, in India, a company submitting BRSR, it is to report non-financial performance, which is correct. The BRSR report is mandated by SEBI mainly to give a comprehensive view of the non-financial performance of a company to all stakeholders. That is the idea. So, 2 is correct. So, which of the following statements are correct? Only 2 is correct. Only 2 is correct. Agriculture activities. Agriculture activity means generally growing of crops. Allied activities means poultry farming, wool rearing, etc. So, they're saying that in India, allied agriculture activities are exempt of any tax. This is wrong. Agricultural income is exempt of taxes, that we know. But poultry, wool rearing, they do not come under the agricultural activities income. They do not come under the income that is earned from agricultural activities. So, they are not exempt from taxes. Second statement, rural agricultural land is not considered as capital assets. It's correct. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, certain assets are not considered as capital assets. Example, rural agricultural land, the furniture in the home, the jewelry, etc. Hence, 2 is correct. So, D, option D. Statement 1 is not correct. Statement 2 is correct. Next question is about Mineral Security Partnership, which is started by USA in 2022, mainly to secure the supply chain. To secure the supply chain of critical minerals. India became its member in 2023. So, India joined it. First option is correct. Second statement is, India is rich in 30 critical minerals. It is wrong. India is rich in only few critical minerals. India is not rich in all 30 minerals. For example, lithium, cobalt, in these kind of critical minerals, India is import dependent even now. So, 2 is wrong. Then, in 2023, Parliament made an act, Mines and Minerals Development Regulatory Act. According to that act, only central government is exclusively given the right to provide mining lease for critical minerals. This is correct. 3 is correct. So, 1 and 3 are correct. Option C. 37th question is about, to understand this, you should first understand when a company becomes bankrupt and liquidation is done, the priority will be initially given to secured creditors, then unsecured creditors, then government dues shall be cleared, then preferred shareholders. After that only the equity holders or the partners are given last importance, because equity holders or partners, they have to take the risk of the loss of the company. So here, as regards for returns from investment, generally bondholders are considered to be at a lower risk than stockholders, which is correct. Stockholders or partners are the owners of the company. They should take most of the risk, but not the bondholders. So, bondholders are relatively at lower risk, which is correct. Second, bondholders are lenders, whereas stockholders are the owners, which is correct. Stockholders or equity holders, they are the owners of the company and they should take more risk. So, statement 2 is explaining statement 1. Then, for repayment purpose, either during bankruptcy or otherwise, for repayment purpose, definitely bondholders are prioritized over the shareholders or stockholders. So, all 3 statements are correct and both the statements explain statement 1. See here, for repayment purpose, bondholders are prioritized. That is why we can tell that bondholders are at a lower risk. So hence it's explaining. Similar this one also, bondholders are lenders, so they should take less risk. Company stockholders are owners, so take more risk. Hence all statements are correct and both are explaining statement 1. A. Explain 1. Let's move to the next question. 38th question. India accounts for very large portion of all equity options traded globally, which is true. 10 years ago, maybe in 2014, India accounted for only 15% of equity option contracts traded globally. But now in 2024-25, almost 84%. India accounts for 84%. So there is a drastic increase. As per the FIA data, we can find this. First option is correct. India's stock market has grown rapidly. It even overtook Hong Kong. Correct. Indian stock market currently stands at $4.33 trillion. Hong Kong is slightly lesser than that, around $4.29 trillion. Hong Kong. So this is also correct. There is no regulatory body to warn the small investors. Is wrong. India has got SEBI. SEBI is there to warn small investors about the risk in options trading. So third is wrong. Only 1 and 2 are correct. Friends, circular economy. Circular economy in the sense, for example, take a plastic bottle. If you make the plastic bottle from the recycled plastic instead of virgin plastic, and after using the plastic bottles as customers dispose it, if they are collected back, recycled, again used, we call it a circular economy. Generally, in circular economy reduces the emissions of greenhouse gas. It reduces the emissions. For example, here they mentioned that circular economy reduces the use of raw material. See, as you reduce the use of raw material, for example, in the example of plastic, you no need to use a virgin plastic. You can use recycled plastic. That means the raw material use is reduced. So what happens? The energy required to extract the new raw material will be reduced. As energy gets reduced, obviously the emissions get reduced. So both are correct and explaining correctly only. Circular economy reduces wastage. Exactly. Wastage is also reduced. As wastage is reduced, you can use it for raw material purpose. And hence again, emissions are reduced because the energy required for extraction of it is reduced. So they are interconnected. So all three are correct and both of them are explaining statement 1. So option A. Friends, here they said borrowing and disinvestment are capital receipts, which is correct. Revenue receipts, capital receipts. They both are different, and capital receipts which government receives at large scale. Some of the examples are borrowings, large scale borrowing funds, and disinvestment give capital receipts for the government. Capital receipts create liability. See, for example, when the government borrows the funds from outside, definitely it creates liability. Or capital receipts cause reduction in assets. Yes, when government does disinvestment, the assets of the governments are getting reduced. So from the second point only, you can understand the first point clearly. So both are correct. Interest received on loans. For example, India has given loan to, let us say, Bangladesh, and we receive interest on that loan. The interest is called as revenue receipt. So interest received on loan creates a liability of the, it's not liability, it's a revenue receipt, it's not liability. So 3 is wrong. So 1 and 2 are correct. 1 and 2 are correct. And the next question is regarding NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. See, NATO is in the news because of which Russia went on Ukraine for a war also. So hence it is essential that you should know the member countries of NATO. NATO has 32 member countries. Among these countries, only Bulgaria, Croatia, Sweden and North Macedonia, these 4 countries are part of NATO. So only 4 countries among the given list of 6 are part of NATO. Let's move to the next question. So here, Andes Mountains pass through the countries. Andes Mountains pass through South American continent. If you take South American continent, this is Brazil, this is Paraguay. These are Andes Mountains. Just like how Rockies pass North America, Andes pass South America. So, among the countries through which Andes pass, Brazil, Paraguay. Definitely, Andes does not pass through these two countries. Through Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, even Argentina also, Andes pass through. So, only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 countries. Among these countries, only 4 has Andes in them. Equator. Equator passes through which of these lakes? Lake Tanganyika is in Africa. Lake Tanganyika is in Africa. However, Tanganyika is below the equator. Actually, Lake Victoria is on equator. Tanganyika is not on equator. Lake Tonle Sap, which is in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, and Patos Lagoon, which is in Brazil. It is actually in the southernmost part of Brazil. None of them has equator on them. Equator does not pass to any of them. None. Moving on, next question. So regarding turmeric, previously also UPSC asked questions on turmeric. We know that India is the largest producer of turmeric, consumer of turmeric, and even export turmeric. First statement is correct. And almost 20 states of India produce turmeric. 20 states. There are more than 30 varieties because these states are different soil, different climate, rainfall pattern is different, temperature is different. Hence, the variety of turmeric is also different. More than 30 is grown, which is correct. And Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu are the 4 largest producers of turmeric, which is correct. All 3 statements are correct in this question. See, continental drift, as you know, Pangea broke down into parts and the continents are drifting. There are many proofs for continental drift, which you study in NCERT. Out of those many proofs, they gave only 3 proofs here. One of them is, if you see South American continent and African continent, here is Ghana, here is Brazil. You see the jigsaw kind of fitting, they both fit together on proof of continental drift theory. The Brazil coast matches with Western Africa. The Brazil coast matches with West Africa. This proof is correct. And the gold deposits of Ghana are from the Brazil plateau. Hence, second statement is correct. And here the Gondwana system of sediments, see, during the Gondwana times, in the southern hemisphere, there are many land masses. India is there, Australia is there, Antarctica, Africa, South America, Madagascar. 6 land masses are there. All six land masses have similar kind of sediments. That's what they mention. Gondwana system sediments from India is known to have the counterparts in 6 different land masses. It is correct. So all 3 statements are C. All are correct for this question. Let's move on to the next one. Here about dust particles. Friend, generally, when do dust particles rise up or they form? The soil, when soil is not wet, when there is no much rainfall, when soil is not wet, when it is dry, dust particles get generated generally. And dust particles fly in the air, they stay in the atmosphere, lower atmosphere. So, on the earth, in the polar area, the soil does not have dust particles because mostly filled with the glaciers. And the equatorial region, because of heavy rainfall, generally dust particles cannot be generated because of wetness in the soil. But in the subtropical areas and temperate areas, rainfall is less, not continuous, and dry winds are there. Because of dry atmosphere, more dust particles are there. That is the idea. Now let's look at the statements. The amount of dust particles are more in subtropical temperate than equatorial polar, which is correct. Subtropical temperate areas have less dry winds, wrong. They have more dry winds. So, hence statement 2 is wrong. Only 1 is correct. So, answer is C. Statement 1 is correct. 2 is not correct. Friends, this is regarding the temperature in January. In January, northern hemisphere has winter. southern hemisphere as summer. Now here they are asking about the northern hemisphere. What happens if this is the equator, this is the earth, in the northern hemisphere in January winter season. In winter season what happens is, friends, in winter season compared to water mass, water body, land gets cooler. In summer season also, land becomes hotter than water. In winter, land becomes cooler than water. This is the property of land. There are many reasons for it, which we study in geography. So here, in the winter season, let us say this is all water. If completely filled with, let us say it's filled with water, then the isotherm, see, isotherms are nothing but imaginary lines connecting the points of equal temperature. So the isotherm would be straight. If it is completely filled with water, isotherm would be straight. However, if there is a landmass in between, what happens is, land is very cool. Even see, close to equator, the land temperature will be 10 degrees. Whereas in the ocean, for reaching 10 degrees, you have to go towards the polar area. 10 degrees will be here in the ocean. Ocean 10 degrees. Land 10 degrees will be closer to equator because land is very cool than the ocean. So now if you draw an isotherm, the isotherm bends like this and again goes. So in the January month, in the northern hemisphere, isotherm bends equatorward on the land. So this is correct. Okay. Then let's take ocean. For example, let us say above the equator is completely filled with land. Then isotherm would be straight. But if at all there is ocean, what happens? On the land, 10 degrees is close to equator. In the ocean, 10 degrees is away from equator because ocean is warmer. So if you have to draw the isotherm now, it goes like this. So in January, northern hemisphere, if there is a water body, the isotherm bends not poleward. The isotherm bends poleward. So hence, first statement is correct. Isotherm bend equatorward while crossing land, poleward while crossing ocean. Why it happens? Because over the oceans, it is warmer. Over the land mass, it is cooler, northern hemisphere. So both are correct and correct explanation also. Statement 2 is correct. Answer A. Both statements are correct and statement 2 explains statement 1. Friends, see, if you observe the, chalk. You observe chalk and clay. See, both chalk and clay, both are porous. But in clay, the pores are very small, extremely small, that water cannot percolate easily. That's why clay is not permeable. In chalk, the pores are bigger, so water can percolate easily. That's why chalk is more permeable. So, chalk is a very permeable rock. Clay is impermeable. Why? Because clay pores are of very small size, chalk pores are larger. That's the reason. Okay, so this is correct. Second one, chalk is porous and hence it can absorb water. Correct. Clay is not at all porous. Wrong. Clay is not at all porous is wrong. Clay is porous but very fine pores. So fine that does not allow water to flow easily. So 3 is wrong. 2 is correct and it's correct explanation also. Explanation also correct only for the statement 1. So answer C. Only one of the statements 2 is correct. Among 2 and 3, only 2 is correct. And that explains statement 1. And that correct statement explains statement 1. So answer is C. Friends, about the atmosphere, I think we know that if this is Earth, this is atmosphere. Because of the gases like carbon dioxide, atmosphere, which act as greenhouse gases, what happens is, from the sun, as the heat waves come, carbon dioxide and atmosphere allow the heat rays. They allow the insolation, incoming solar radiation. But after the earth becomes hot, after earth is heated by insolation, the terrestrial radiation, the heat waves from the earth try to go out, but they are stopped by atmosphere. So the terrestrial radiation is trapped in the atmosphere, because of which Earth is warm. If atmosphere is not there, if carbon dioxide is not there, the terrestrial radiations will go out. So all the heat of the Earth goes out. So Earth becomes extremely cool, below freezing point. Let us see the question now. Without atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point, correct? Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our temperature of the planet, correct? Atmosphere gases like carbon dioxide are good at absorbing and trapping the radiation. See, because carbon dioxide can absorb allow the insulation, but stop the terrestrial radiation. That's why it's called greenhouse gas. It's also correct. All three are correct. C, answer is C. All three are correct. About Rashtriya Gokul Mission. Rashtriya Gokul Mission is mainly designed for indigenous bovine breeds. Indigenous, not exotic. Indigenous bovine breeds. The desi buffaloes and cows, to conserve them, to increase their productivity, to increase the milk production, in order to ensure that we don't need to import milk, in order to ensure that we have sustainable production of the milk in the long term. That is the fundamental idea. But generally, who will have the desi cows and the buffaloes? Small and marginal farmers will have it. So indirectly, it is actually developing the small marginal farmers also and bringing them out of poverty. So let us look at the statements. It is important for upliftment of rural poor. Why? Because indigenous animals are with small and marginal farmers. Correct. It was initiated to promote indigenous cattle in a scientific way, right? So both statements are correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. The next question is about panchayats. Here, they intentionally mentioned the word panchayats at intermediate level. You see, the panchayats at intermediate level. The reason is panchayat is a 3-tier system. The middle one is called block level panchayat. They are mentioning about the block level panchayat. So the first statement is panchayats exist in all states of India. No, actually Article 243M of Constitution of India says that some states no need to have the panchayat system based on their socio-cultural reasons, like states like Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram. They do not have the panchayat system. They have their traditional local governance mechanisms. So first statement is wrong. Second one, to be eligible to become member of panchayat, age should be minimum 21 years. 30 years is wrong. 21 years actually should be. Then the Chief Minister of the state constitutes commission to review the financial position. The State Finance Commission is not done by a Chief Minister. It is constituted by the Governor of the state. The State Finance Commission, through State Finance Commission only, they make recommendations regarding distribution of the net proceeds, taxes and duties to the panchayats through the State Finance Commission, which is constituted by the Governor of the state. So all three are wrong. Which of the statements given were not correct? They asked not correct. So all three are not correct. D is answer. Friends, about BIMSTEC. So BIMSTEC has 7 members. It has 7 members. See, along with India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, these 5 countries, and Sri Lanka, Thailand. Total 7 countries are part of BIMSTEC. As of now, 7 members are part of BIMSTEC. So first statement is correct. It came into existence in 1999, but not Dhaka Declaration, by Thailand Declaration, Bangkok Declaration. So second statement is wrong. Then these are the founding members of BIMSTEC. Nepal is not the founding member. Nepal is joined in 2000. No, Nepal is added in 2004. So Nepal is wrong. Third statement is wrong. The subsector of tourism is led by Nepal, not India. Nepal led the subsector of tourism. So 4 is wrong. So only first statement is correct. 1 only is correct. This is answer. D is answer. This is about the Gandhi Peace Prize. And the jury, the members of the jury, to select the recipient of the Gandhi Peace Prize are the leader of opposition. If leader of opposition is not there, then the head of the largest opposition party. And Chief Justice of India, yes, Prime Minister, yes, but not President of India. 2 eminent members. Along with the Prime Minister, CJ leader opposition, 2 eminent members. So, only 2, 3, 4 are correct. 2, 3, 4 are correct. C is answer. Next one is regarding GPS aided geo augmented navigation. See, similar systems were there in US, Europe and Japan. India is the 4th one to develop a similar system. Actually, the idea of Gagan is that global positioning system GPS is actually enough for the navigation. However, the accuracy of GPS is not up to the level of 2 to 3 meters. So, to increase the accuracy of the GPS in the Indian space, Gagan is developed. So, now the accuracy is up to 1 to 3 meters because of Gagan. So, let us look into it. Actually, it is developed by ISRO and Airport Authority of India together, mainly for the purpose of air navigation. However, later it is expanded to railways, maritime, agriculture, etc. Let us look at the statements. It is designed to provide additional accuracy, which is correct. Additional accuracy to the GPS, correct. It will allow uniform and high quality air traffic management. Yes, that is the reason why Airport Authority of India developed Gagan, correct. It will provide benefits only to aviation is wrong, not only aviation. Maybe initially it is for aviation, but now it is for agriculture, as I told you, railways, maritime, etc. So, only 1 and 2 are correct. Answer is D, only 1 and 2 are correct. Friends, the AI Action Summit, which is held recently, is co-chaired with India. Actually, AI Action Summit is attended by several countries, academia, businesses, civil societies, and they all discussed about the applications of AI society, ethical concerns, all those things. So, India co-chaired it, and it actually built on what already was discussed in 2023 summit and 24 summit. So, 1 is correct. So, they say US and UK signed the declaration of inclusive AI. No, actually, US and UK are the only countries which refused to sign. They refused to sign. They did not give an official statement, but one of the officials of US said that they don't want to sign inclusive AI because they don't want any kind of regulation on AI because it may stifle the innovation in AI. Though it is not logical, that's what they said. But many countries, including France, China, India, signed the inclusive AI. USA, UK did not sign. So only 1 is correct. Only 1 is correct. See, this is about literature years. Generally, UPSC rarely asks this kind of factual questions. In these questions, they ask the year of women farmer, year sustainable resilient tourism. So you may have to by heart these years. Here they give all of them correct. All the 4 years are correct. Whatever years they give, all of them are correct. Friends, the big summit. So the recent big summit held in October 2024 was held in Kazan, a place in Russia. Kazan, which is correct. It's correct. Indonesia became full-time member in January 2025. This is also correct. The theme of the big summit was strengthening multicultural. See, actually, friends, it is multilateralism. See, multilateralism is completely different from multiculturalism. Multilateralism means different countries cooperating together, working together, collaborating is multilateralism. Multiculturalism means different ethnicities, cultures, caste, religion, staying together in a country. So they are different. So multiculturalism is the wrong word. Actually, the real theme of big summit is multilateralism. And hence 3 is wrong. So only 1 and 2 are correct. Only 1 and 2 are correct. A is correct. Friends, this is about the Lokpal. So the power of Lokpal applies to public servants in India, but not out is wrong. Actually, outside India, any public servant, either posted in India or outside India, Indian foreign service officials also come under the Lokpal. So 1 is wrong. The chairperson is only Chief Justice of India. No, chairperson is not just Chief Justice. The chairperson can be Chief Justice of India, can be Supreme Court judge, or can be eminent personality who has experienced 25 years in various fields. So 2 is also wrong. The member or chairperson should have a minimum age of 45 years, correct? This is correct. To become a member or chairperson of Lokpal, the minimum age is 45 years. Then fourth one, Lokpal cannot inquire into allegations of corruption, Prime Minister is wrong. Lokpal can inquire into corruption charges of Prime Minister of India. They may not inquire about the security things, Prime Minister's security aspects, but corruption of Prime Minister they can definitely inquire. So only third option is correct. Only 3 is correct. Friends, regarding the Kho World Cup, which was held in Delhi, the first held in Delhi, and India won in the finals against Nepal, both in men and women category. The event held in Delhi is correct. Indian men bet Nepal, Indian women bet Nepal, both are correct only. But you see, the 78-40 the scores, they have exchanged the scores. They have changed the scores of both. Hence, both options are wrong. Only option 1 is correct. Generally, these kind of things difficult to remember. I think you should be lucky to, if you're really interested in the Kho, if you really watch Kho, only then you can answer this question. Just by reading newspaper, definitely you cannot answer this question. So I think it's pure luck only. Friends, regarding the 40th Chess Olympiad, we all know that Gukesh won again as the Chinese Grandmaster Jing Liren. They gave, Gukesh won against Russian player, wrong. This is wrong. Okay, so first statement is wrong. Second, Abhimanyu Mishra, who is I think around 12 years and few months old, he has become the youngest grandmaster. He is a US citizen, American chess player. 2 is correct. So only 2 is correct. Next question is about the rare earth elements used in the manufacturing of television screens. See, those rare earth elements which have the phosphorescent properties or fluorescent, is also called as fluorescent properties, because fluorescent properties are required to show bright colors, display of bright colors. Hence, fluorescent properties are essential to use the rare earth elements like europium in the manufacture of television screens. First statement is correct. Some rare earth elements like europium are used in the manufacture of television screens. Second statement is also correct, because europium like rare earth elements has phosphorescent properties, because of which only they are used in the manufacturing of television screens. So both statement 1 or 2 correct, and 2 explains the 1 correctly. Regarding the Indian Railways, the National Rail Plan to create future railways is by 2030, not 2028. Kavach is an indigenously made automatic train production system. It is indigenously made, not by Germany. No. Kavach system consists of RFID tags fitted on important places like station section, near the stations, then level crossings, then important signaling points. So this is correct. It consists of RFID tags fitted on the track in the station section. So only 3 is correct. The question is, which are not correct? 1 and 2 are not correct. Now, they have given 3 space missions and asking which of these space missions encourage research in microgravity. All the 3 space missions talk about microgravity research. Microgravity means researching in the areas where the gravity is very less, almost near zero gravity. Like, for example, situation International Space Station. In ISS, the gravity is near zero. In such conditions, study of the physical, biological and chemical processes, environmental processes is called as microgravity research. It is done, it is planned in all the 3 space missions. So all the 3 is correct. Friends, they have given for the Indian defense, they have given the aircrafts and also mentioned the description of the aircraft, the usage of the aircrafts. So Dornier 228 is a maritime patrol aircraft, is correct. IL-76 is supersonic combat, is actually not combat. IL-76 is a cargo aircraft, cargo. So 2 is wrong. C-17 Glowmaster 3 is a military transport aircraft, which is also correct. So only 1 and 3, only 2 pairs are correctly matched. Artificial way of causing rainfall is called as cloud seeding. Cloud seeding. To reduce the air pollution, sometimes we create artificial rainfall. In this cloud seeding, we use silver iodide, potassium iodide. They act as the nuclei around which the water droplets are formed. Essentially, cloud consists of ice particles or water droplets. For the formation of clouds, you require nuclei around which water droplets can form. From there, the rainfall is possible. Hence, option is A. Option is A. This question is about the pardoning power of the President of India. President of India can exercise the pardoning power. However, it is subjected to limited judicial review as mentioned here, and this is seen in the case of Epuru Sudhakar 2006. First statement is correct. Second one, President can exercise this power without the advice of central government. No, it is not discretionary. He has to exercise power only by the advice of central government. So only first statement is correct. Only one is correct. Friends, regarding the Lok Sabha, House of People, Lok Sabha, on the dissolution of Lok Sabha, Speaker shall not vacate the office. True, they shall not vacate the office until the first meeting of the new Lok Sabha. See, once the Lok Sabha is dissolved, till the new Lok Sabha comes into picture and they elect a new speaker, until that time, the speaker has to continue in order to ensure the continuity of parliamentary functioning. So first one is correct. Second one, member of Lok Sabha on being elected as speaker shall resign from the political party, not required. A speaker can belong to a political party. They no need to resign from the political party. 2 is wrong. Third one, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, for the removal, majority of all the members of House at that time, more than 50% of the people at that time, shall pass the resolution. And it has to be, the notice has to be given at least 14 days in advance. Both are correct. So third statement is correct. So 1 and 3 are correct statements. 1 and 3 are correct. C. Friends, this is regarding the Lok Sabha, member of House. Okay. So member of House of People, a member of Lok Sabha. Regarding the disqualification of member of Lok Sabha under the 10th schedule, President's decision, friends, it's not President, it is Speaker. Under the 10th schedule, disqualification of any person of Lok Sabha is decided by Speaker but not the President. So 1 is wrong. There is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution. No. In the 10th schedule, which is mentioned here, in 10th schedule, there is a mention of political party multiple times, repeatedly. So this is also wrong. Both are wrong. So which are correct? Neither 1 nor 2. None of them are correct. Friends, in India, state government has no power to make rules on the minor minerals. No, wrong. As per the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957, state government has the powers to make rules on the minor minerals. However, what constitutes the minor minerals? What minerals are called as minor minerals? That shall be notified by central government. Central government has the power to notify the minor minerals. 2 is correct, 1 is wrong. So, option D. Statement 1 is not correct, but statement 2 is correct. Option D. Friends, the Nature Restoration Law is made by the European Union exactly 1 year back in June 2024, and they even kept a target that by 2030 2030, at least 20% of European Union's land and sea has to be restored. So answer is A. Answer is A. The biodiversity loss has to be restored. Next question is about the fundamental concepts of economy, where you should know what is revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, primary deficit. See, revenue deficit is nothing but revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. Revenue expenditure means the day-to-day expenditure of government, like salaries, and revenue receipts is like non-debt creating or which does not actually reduce assets. So revenue receipts are like the income tax, GST collected by the government of India. Revenue deficit is the difference between these two. So revenue expenditure 80,000 minus revenue receipts 60. 80 minus 60, 20 is correct. What is fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit is total expenditure minus total receipts, which is exactly equal to the amount of borrowing that the government does. The amount of borrowing government does is exactly equal to the fiscal deficit, total expenditure minus total receipts. So here in this case, the amount of borrowing government is doing is 10,000 crores. So fiscal deficit is equal to 10,000 crores. This is also correct. Primary deficit is fiscal deficit minus the interest payments that you are doing for the loans we have taken. For example, in this case, for the loans we have taken, we are paying interest of 6,000. So fiscal deficit minus interest payments, 4,000 rupees is the primary deficit. So all three are correct. All three are correct. So the international north-south transportation corridor moves from India to Central Asia. From there, it goes to Europe. It touches Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia. These are covered in the international north-south transportation corridor, which is multimodal. That means rail, road, and sea routes are covered. So, among these, the correct interpretation is given in A. See, here also, D also, it's slightly okay. However, they did not cover Central Asia here. Central Asia is important. It goes through Central Asia to Europe. It does not, bypass or leave Central Asia. So D is wrong. So India to Central Asia to Europe via Iran. It touches, of course, it touches Azerbaijan also, Russia also. So A is the correct answer. Regarding the ethanol, as per 2024, USA produced almost 16 billion gallons of ethanol, 16 billion, whereas Brazil produced only 8.8 billion gallons. See, the highest producer is USA, second highest producer is Brazil. But here they mentioned that Brazil is producing more than USA. It is wrong. USA produces ethanol from the corn, whereas Brazil produces from sugar cane. This is correct. Statement 2 is correct. So statement 1 is not correct. Statement 2 is correct. D is the answer. See, when the wet bulb temperature routinely exceeds 35, see, when the wet bulb temperature exceeds 35, it means it is too hot that the human body or animal bodies cannot cool down easily even by sweating. If wet bulb temperature exceeds the threshold limit 35 degrees centigrade, even by sweating also the body cannot cool. We have to use air conditioning, in fact, to cool down. So that is the meaning of what World Bank said about India. So here, the survival of animals, including humans, will be affected as shedding their body heat to respiration becomes difficult. 2 is the statement. It has nothing to do with the flooding. Actually, wet bulb temperatures and flooding has nothing, there is no relation. Hence, nothing to do with 1. Only 2 is correct. Friends, again the same economic concept. The fiscal deficit is 50,000. We have to find the primary deficit. As I told you, primary deficit is nothing but fiscal deficit minus interest payable. That means 50,000 minus 1,500. 50,000 is a fiscal deficit minus interest payable is 1,500, which is equal to 48,500. So A is the option. A is the correct answer. Just to confuse you, they have mentioned non-debt creating capital receipts. See, they can give 10 other things also. Non-debt creating capital assets, revenue receipts, revenue expenditure. They can mention whatever they want. But the point is, final deficit is nothing but fiscal deficit minus interest payment. That's all. Friends, the 15th Finance Commission, see, actually, 14th Finance Commission asked the central government to devolve 42% of the central government's income, net proceeds of union taxes, 42% of net proceeds of union taxes to the states. However, the 15th Finance Commission recommended only 41%. The reduction of 1% happened because Jammu and Kashmir is removed as a state in India. It is kept under the union territory at the time. That's why 41% is the recommendation, not 45%. Statement 2 is wrong. And the remaining recommendations of the Finance Commission, like a grant of 4,800 crore every year, consecutively for 3 years, to incentivize states to enhance education outcomes is correct. And 45,000 crores as an incentive for states for carrying out agriculture reforms, to carry out reforms. Whichever states carries reforms, they will be getting the amount. That is also correct. And it reintroduced tax effort criteria to reward fiscal performance. Tax effort criteria means, see, every state will have certain tax capacity. Some states will have more tax capacity if the economic activity is more in such states, or economic structure is in such a way. Whereas some states will have less tax capacity. Now, what is the actual tax collected? What is the actual tax collected? It depends upon the tax capacity. However, some states, if their tax capacity is, let us say, 5, but they actually collect 6, that means they perform more than what their capacity is. Such kind of thing, actual tax collection divided by tax capacity. That's what we call it as, tax effort. So the states which are having better tax effort, more tax effort, such states will be incentivized by devolving more funds. That is correct. So 4 is also correct. So only 2 is wrong. 1, 3, 4 are correct. C is the answer. Friends, the International Bank for Reconstruction Development, formed in 1944, mainly for rebuilding the Europe after the devastation occurred in Europe because of World War II. Later on, the IBRD started helping the middle income countries as well as low income countries by providing loans and guarantees, but not single-handedly. It actually works closely, associates with the other groups of World Bank, the World Bank groups. So option 2 is, the second statement is wrong. First statement is correct, third is correct. Only 1 and 3 are correct. Friends, you may be knowing about RTGS and NEFT. Generally in NEFT, whenever you do a transaction, it takes some time because NEFT, it works differently. There, the processing happens in batches after every half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour. In batches, the transactions happen. Based on certain time limit, it happens. Hence, NEFT transactions always take time. RTGS happens instantaneously. RTGS. So, the first statement is correct. In RTGS, settlement time is instantaneous, while NEFT takes some time because it happens NEFT happens in batches, batch-wise. RTGS happens transaction-wise. Every transaction independently will process. NEFT, group of transactions will process as batches in a time limit. First one is correct. In RTGS, the inward transactions are charged. No. Inward transactions are free. They are not charged RTGS. Operating hours for RTGS are restricted. No, they are not restricted. They are 24/7 throughout the year. From December 2020, as per the December 2020, from then onwards, as per the new guidelines, the RTGS operating hours are throughout the day, throughout the year. No restrictions. Hence, 3 is also wrong. Only 1 is correct. Only 1 is correct. Friends, which of these countries are part of UPA? Germany, Bangladesh were not part of UPA. The remaining countries are part of UPA. There is a list of countries which are part of UPA. You can go through the list. In that list, Germany, Bangalore are not mentioned. Whereas France, UAE, Singapore, Nepal, some other countries are mentioned. So, only 3. Only 3. Friends, PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. The idea is to increase the rooftop solar installations for residential houses, residences, not commercial purpose. So here it comes under the Ministry of Renewable Energy. That's correct. It aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower. Is right. The target is to install 1 crore solar rooftops. That means for 1 crore households, they want to install the solar rooftops. Correct. So all the statements given here are correct regarding the Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Mufti Bijli Yojana. 81st question talks about ordinance. Ordinance is mentioned in Article 123 of Constitution of India, where they say that when Parliament is not in session, the ordinance promulgated by President of India has the effect similar to an act passed in the Parliament. It has the same effect. So, an ordinance can amend any central act. Yes, because an act in the Parliament can amend central act. Hence, ordinance can also amend. An ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. Abridge means curtail. It can limit, reduce or curtail a fundamental right. Yes, an ordinance or even an act of Parliament can limit the fundamental right only to an extent. It cannot completely destroy the fundamental right. It cannot do any kind of amendment against or violating the basic structure doctrine which is established in case on the Bharati case, without affecting the basic structure of constitution, without destroying the essence of fundamental right. You can slightly curtail or reduce the any fundamental right. It is possible for ordinance or for any parliamentary act. So hence 2 is correct. 2 is correct. An ordinance can come into effect from backdate. That means retrospective effect. Just like a Parliament Act, ordinance can also come into effect retrospectively. So all 3 are correct. All 3 are correct. Moving on. They have given some states and certain description of states. Arunachal Pradesh, capital is Itanagar. It is named after a fort. Yes, the fort name is Fort Ita. Fort Ita is a historical brick fort. It's a brick fort. State has 2 national parks. Arunachal Pradesh, Namdapa and Mauling. These 2 are the national parks of Arunachal Pradesh. So 1 is correct. Nagaland state came into existence on the basis of Constitutional Amendment Act. Yes, it's called as State of Nagaland Act 1962. Based on this act only, Nagaland became a state in 1963. Tripura was initially a princely state. During the British rule, it was a princely state. It was made Part C in the Constitution of India, and later it became a union territory, and later during the Northeast Reorganization Act of 1971, based on that, Tripura became a full-fledged state in 1972. So all the 3 given here are correct. All the 3 are matched correctly. With reference to India, consider the following. Friends, the Interstate Council is formed as per Article 263 of the Constitution of India. President can set up the Interstate Council in order to allow a dialogue between the states and center and to solve any disputes amicably. National Security Council is formed in 1998 based on an executive order It is an executive order. It is not a, it's not a, it's not as per the Constitution of India. Not as per the Constitution of India. Executive order. Interstate Council is constitutional body. Zonal Council is a statutory body. It's not a constitutional body. It's a statutory body formed based on 1956 States Reorganization Act. That act was made in the Parliament. Based on that act, zonal councils are formed. So only one is only established as per the provisions of Constitution. Friends, Constitution of India explicitly mentions that governor can act on his discretion. It is true. In fact, regarding the powers of the governor, roles of the governor in Constitution of India, it is clearly mentioned that governor has discretion to reserve a bill passed by the state assembly, and he can forward it to President of India also. The word discretion explicitly mentioned in the article in the Constitution of India. So one is correct. President of India can reserve a bill passed by the state legislature without being forwarded by the governor is wrong. Only if the governor forwards the bill to the president, president can sit on the bill. But without the involvement of governor, president on his own suo motu, he cannot take any bill passed by the state legislature. So 2 is wrong. Only one is correct. Friends, separation of judicial from executive, Article 50 is a part of TSPSC, correct. Valuing and preserving the rich heritage of India is a part of fundamental duty, Article 51A. Prohibition of employment of children below age of 14 is a part of fundamental rights. It is a part of fundamental rights. So all three are correct. Once an area is declared as scheduled area under the 5th schedule of Constitution of India, which of these are true? The state government loses its executive power. See, loses is not right term. The state government, its executive power may slightly be given to the governor or even the local panchayat, but it cannot completely lose. Similarly, local body assumes total administration is wrong. Governor actually is involved in administration. Local body cannot assume total administration. So statement 1 is wrong. The union government can take over the total administration, from the governor is also wrong. Governor's involvement is must. Governor cannot completely hand over administration to central government without his involvement. He cannot allow central government to take care of it completely. Hence, both statements are wrong. Neither one nor two. None are correct. Friends, National Automotive Board comes under Ministry of Heavy Industries. The Coir Board comes under MSME Ministry. National Center for Trade Information, this comes under Ministry of Commerce Industry. All three are wrongly matched. None of them are correctly matched. None. Friends, while amending which of these three, ratification by the states is required. States generally in the Constitution, as per Article 368, when we are amending any part of the Constitution that affects the federal structure, then after the Parliament passes the bill, more than 50% of states have to ratify it. Only then the bill becomes an act. So, list 1, Union list in 7th schedule. In Article 368 of Constitution of India regarding the amendment of Constitution, it is very clearly mentioned that any kind of amendment to 7th schedule, not only concurrent list, state list, union list also, amending union list also shall be ratified by the states. So one is correct. And executive power of state. See, not only executive power of state, even executive power of union also. If any amendment has to be done to the executive powers, Article 368 clearly mentioned that ratification by states is required because it these two indirectly affects the federal structure. Now, third one, conditions of governor's office, that means appointment of governor, removal of governor, term 5 years, shall reduce it to 4 years, whatever. These kind of things does not impact the federal structure, and it is not mentioned in Article 68. Hence, the conditions of governor's office, for amending it, the ratification by the states is not required. Only 1 and 2. Only 1 and 2. Governor of state is not answerable to any court while exercising his powers. It is correct. Under Article 361, it is given clearly. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted against the governor during his term in the office. That is also correct as per Article 361. There is an example also in the combined state of Andhra Pradesh regarding Tiwari, Honorable Governor of Combined AP Tiwari. A similar thing happened actually. You can go and read about it. Now, members of state legislature are not liable to any proceedings for whatever they vote or tell in the house. Yes, as per Article 194, they are not liable for any proceedings in the courts for whatever they vote, speak, or whatever they do either in the house or in the committees, the parliamentary committees or state committees. So, all three are correct. All three are correct. Friends, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board of India, it controls refining, storage, distribution, marketing, sale of petroleum products or petroleum. However, it does not regulate the production of crude oil. How much crude oil is produced, from which areas production has to be done. The production of crude oil and production of natural gas cannot be regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Body. So only these two can be regulated. So only two. Sedition has become my religion was famous statement by Gandhiji. He said this publicly while violating the salt law during the Dandi salt march. During the time, he said this statement publicly. Otherwise, the statement he told many other times also. So answer is B. The famous female figurine known as Dancing Girl found in Mohenjo-daro is made up of bronze. It is made using lost wax casting technique. See, during the Chauri Chaura incident, a violent mob, has burnt a police station down, killing 22 policemen. So most of them were arrested. So during the trial, legal defense was provided to them by Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishna Kant. So answer is B. See, it is only after the epic fast in the Ayurveda prison of Pune, the Pune Pact was made. It's only after the Pune Pact, Gandhiji seriously worked on the Harijans, their upliftment, by forming All India Harijan Sevak Sangh. So even the temple movements were started alongside with it for the upliftment of Harijans in all possible spheres. See, among the fruits introduced by Portuguese, papaya and pineapple were introduced by Portuguese in 16th century and Goa was introduced in 17th century. Actually, Portuguese have introduced several new world fruits in India. So, all three are correct. Answer is C. All three are correct. See, time zone. Basically, what is the time zone? Time zone in the sense, when a country, longitudinally, not latitudinally, but longitudinally, when a country covers, more, longitudinally, when a country covers more, the timeline definitely changes. For example, when the sun rises here, it may take 4 to 5 hours before the sun rises here. And hence, they divide the country into few time zones. So here the question is, how many time zones are there in these countries? If you observe, UK has only one time zone. The UK as a country has a one time zone, but UK controls several overseas territories. So if you consider all those states across the world controlled by UK, it has got 9 time zones. Even Australia has got 9 time zones. Denmark 6 and New Zealand 5 time zones. So these 4 countries have more than 4 time zones, whereas Brazil has only 4 time zones. India has only 1 time zone, but there is theory that if India continues single one time zone, there will be loss of productivity for the people staying in the northeast India. So, but however, if we increase time zones to 2 or 3, we have to change completely the railway timings, bus timings, which may not be easy for the Indians to follow, because most of the Indians are illiterate. Most of the adults are illiterate. So anyhow, in this point, among the 5 countries, only 4 countries have more than. Here the point is more than 4 time zones. Only 4 countries. 4 countries. Option is B. Here, see, another in Siberia, for example, if this is the international time zone, another in Siberia is this side. Here is Siberia. Another is here, another. Siberia, Nome is in Alaska. Alaska is this side. Nome is in Alaska. Actually, Alaska was part of Russia only once upon a time, but USSR sold it to independent USA, independent America. Even now, Russia regrets the decision of USSR of selling the. At the time, it's not USSR. At the time, Tsar was ruling Russia. Anyhow, in Alaska, Nome, Alaska belongs to USA now. Nome is a place, and another is a place in Siberia, Russia. They are just few kilometers away. However, as international time zone, what happens is another is almost one day in advance to Nome. In advance in the sense, if another it is Monday, another is Monday, Nome is backward Sunday. Nome would be Sunday, and time difference would be nearly 24 hours, 20 hours. So here the first statement is around Siberia and Africa are a few kilometers away, but when people are waking up, it would be different days too. It will be different days. How? If it is Monday there, it will be Sunday in Nome, not Tuesday. Sunday in Nome, because the international time zone is here. So the day starts from another and it goes around the world and ends with Nome. So friends, 2 is wrong, 1 is correct. So only 1 is the answer. Only 1. Self-respect movement was started by Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar. His idea is to establish a society where there is no caste, no religion, no God also. Friends, Botswana is rich in diamonds, Chile is rich in lithium, Indonesia is rich in nickel. All 3 are correct. All 3 are correct. Option is C. Mallorca belongs to Spain. Mallorca is a part of Spain, whereas Normandy is part of France. Normandy has come in news several times. Sardinia, as you know, is a part of Italy. So all 3 are wrongly matched. So none of them are rightly matched. That's all, friends. So you correct your papers as per this key, and 99% most of the answers we have done good research, and most of them are correctly explained in this video. Thank you.